You know, there's a quiet moment that happens after everyone's gone home. After the casseroles have been eaten, the flowers have wilted, and the house settles into a stillness that feels louder than any noise. Maybe you felt it too. That ache in your chest when you reach for their side of the bed, or the way their favorite song catches you off guard in the grocery store. Grief has a way of making the world feel both too heavy and too empty all at once. And if that's where you are right now, I want you to know something. It's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out. Healing isn't about getting over loss. It's about learning how to carry it with you as you rebuild. Today we're going to walk through 5 steps that can help you do just that. Not quick fixes or empty promises, but gentle, practical ways to honor your pain and rediscover what it means to live fully again. Let's start with the first step, the one so many of us try to skip, but absolutely shouldn't. I'll never forget a conversation I had with a woman named Margaret a few years back. She'd lost her husband of 40 years and she told me, "I'm so tired of people saying, 'Stay busy, distract yourself.' Like I'm supposed to outrun the sadness." Can you relate? We live in a world that wants us to fix grief, to tidy it up and put it away. But here's the truth, grief isn't a problem to solve. It's a love that has nowhere else to go. So the first step, give yourself permission to feel it all. The tears, the anger, the days where you just stare at the wall. There's no timeline, no right way. If you need to leave their shampoo bottle in the shower for a year, leave it. If you want to talk to them while you're washing dishes, talk. This isn't about clinging to pain, it's about honoring the bond you shared. And here's a little secret. Letting yourself grieve is an act of hope. It means you're brave enough to believe that someday the memories will bring more comfort than hurt. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to burden anyone. Oh, how I've said those words myself. After my dad passed, my mom insisted on weathering her grief alone, until one day she broke down in the cereal aisle because they'd rearranged the store and she couldn't find his favorite oatmeal. A stranger hugged her right there between the Cheerios and Raisin Bran. Here's the thing. Grief shrinks in the light of connection. It doesn't have to be big gestures. Maybe it's joining a weekly grief group at the library. Yes, they still exist and they're full of people who truly get it. Or texting a friend, "Can you come over and just sit with me?" Even small connections act like life rafts. They keep you from drowning in the loneliness. And if reaching out feels impossible right now, start tiny. Leave a voicemail for a cousin. Wave to a neighbor on your walk. Healing doesn't have to happen in grand leaps. Sometimes, it's just a matter of letting someone else hold your hand through the dark. These first steps aren't about moving on. They're about planting your feet firmly in the present, even when the ground feels unsteady. And here's what I've learned from folks who've walked this path. The moments of peace do come. Maybe it's a morning where you laugh at a memory instead of crying. Or an afternoon where you feel their presence in the sunlight instead of their absence in the silence. Those moments matter. They're proof that your heart is still beating, still capable of finding its way forward. And as you keep taking these small, brave steps, you'll start to notice something else. A flicker of curiosity about what else might be waiting for you in this new chapter. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. For now, just breathe. You're doing better than you think. You know, one of the most beautiful and sometimes frustrating things about grief is how unpredictable it is. One day you might wake up feeling like you can finally take a full breath again, and the next, a photo falling out of a book sends you right back to square one. But here's what I want you to remember. Those ups and downs, they're not setbacks. They're proof that you're moving through this, not stuck in it. And as you keep walking this path, you'll start to notice little openings, tiny invitations to reconnect with yourself again. That's where our next steps come in. I'll never forget a letter I received from a man named Carl. He'd been married to his wife Linda for 38 years. After she passed, he said he felt like a ghost in his own life, just going through the motions. But one rainy afternoon, he stumbled on her old gardening journal. Inside, she'd written, "Carl's laughter when he grows tomatoes, like he's coaxing miracles out of the dirt." That note sparked something in him. He started planting tomatoes again, first in pots on the porch, then a full garden. He told me, "It's not about the vegetables. It's about remembering who I was before I was her husband, and who I still am. Maybe gardening isn't your thing, but I bet there's something, a hobby, a passion, a curiosity, that got tucked away over the years. It could be as simple as picking up a paintbrush, joining a book club, or finally taking that line dancing class you joked about for decades. This step isn't about distracting yourself from grief. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that still hum with life. And here's the best part. You don't need to be good at it. You just need to show up. Now, I know the word routine might sound about as exciting as watching paint dry. But hear me out. When your world's been turned upside down, structure isn't about rigidity, it's about creating pockets of safety. Think of it like building a bridge one plank at a time. Take my friend Gloria, for example. After her husband passed, mornings felt especially hollow. So she started a tiny ritual. Every day she'd brew a cup of tea, his favorite, Earl Grey, and sit by the window to watch the birds. At first, it was just something to get her out of bed. But over time, those quiet moments became a kind of meditation. She told me, it's like the tea and the birds remind me that the world keeps turning, even when I'm not sure I want it to. Your anchor doesn't have to be profound. Maybe it's making your bed, walking to the mailbox, or playing crossword puzzles with your breakfast. These small acts of care send a powerful message to your heart. You're still here. You matter. And bit by bit, they help you rebuild a rhythm that feels uniquely yours. Let's be honest, none of this is easy. Some days just getting out of the chair feels like climbing a mountain. But I've seen it time and again. When people give themselves permission to explore and to ground themselves, something shifts. Maybe it's the first time you catch yourself humming while you cook, or the afternoon you realize you've gone a full hour without that heavy ache in your chest. These moments don't erase the loss. They just remind you that life hasn't stopped asking you to dance, even if it's a slower, gentler rhythm now. And as you keep showing up for yourself, you'll start to sense something new. A quiet strength you didn't know you had, a resilience that's been growing in the background all along. But here's the thing, healing isn't a solo journey. It's okay to lean on others, to let them see your progress and your stumbles. Because the final step? It's all about how you take what you've learned and begin to, well, let's save that for next time. For now, just know this. However you're showing up today, it's enough. There's a story I love about an old oak tree that stood in the middle of a town square for over a century. One night, a storm split it right down the middle. Everyone assumed it would die. How could something so wounded keep growing? But the town gardener had a different idea. She pruned the damaged branches, tended to the roots, and slowly that tree began to grow around its scars. It didn't look the same as before, but here's the miracle. It still provided shade. It still bloomed. Grief does that to us, doesn't it? It changes our shape. But here's what I've learned from those who've walked this road. The most beautiful healing happens when we stop trying to go back to normal and instead ask, what can I grow from here? That brings us to our final step. A few years ago, I met a man named Henry at a community center. He'd lost his wife to cancer, and for months he'd felt untethered, like a boat drifting without an anchor. Then one day he noticed a flyer for a volunteer program teaching kids to build birdhouses. He'd been a carpenter for 40 years, so he decided to give it a try. On his first day, a shy 10-year-old handed him a crooked piece of wood and said, "I don't know how to fix it." Henry smiled and said, "Neither do I, yet. Let's figure it out together." He told me later, it wasn't about the birdhouses. It was about realizing I still had something to give. Purpose after loss doesn't have to be grand. It might be mentoring, volunteering, writing letters to newcomers at your church, or even planting a patch of wildflowers in your yard for the neighbors to enjoy. It's about asking yourself, how can I turn my pain into something that helps me, or someone else, feel less alone? And here's the unexpected gift. When you pour love into the world, even in small ways, it has a way of circling back to you. If there's one thing I want you to take away from all of this, it's this. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about weaving your love and your loss into the fabric of your life in a way that lets you keep living. Some days that might mean crying in the cereal aisle. Others, it might mean laughing so hard your ribs hurt while teaching a kid to hammer a nail. Both are okay. Both are part of the journey. So let's take a breath and look back at the steps we've covered. Giving yourself permission to grieve, reaching out for support, rediscovering what lights you up, creating anchors of routine, and finally, finding purpose in your after. These aren't checkboxes, they're tools. Use them when you need them, set them down when you don't. I want to leave you with this. However you're feeling today, whether you're hopeful, angry, lost, or just tired, you're doing better than you think. Every morning you get out of bed, every time you choose to try again, you're proving that love is stronger than loss. And that's a kind of courage that doesn't need applause. It just needs you to keep going. So, dear friend, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments, tell me, what's one small thing that's brought you comfort lately? A song, a memory, a recipe, a walk? Let's create a space where we can lift each other up. And if this video resonated with you, please consider liking it or subscribing to the channel. Together, we can make sure no one has to walk this path alone. Here's to your courage. Here's to the love that never leaves. And here's to the life, messy, beautiful, and uniquely yours, that's still waiting to be lived. You are not alone.